Welcome to Arcade Audio.
Welcome to Dilettante Ball. I'm Johnny.
I'm Spencer.
Here on Dilettante Ball, we go on Wikipedia.
We click random article.
And we talk about it.
Yeah, we do.
All from beautiful Glen, Michigan.
That's right. It's our annual Michigan trip.
Memorial Day. So you're actually listening to this the day after we record it because it is 12:29 a.m. on Monday, Labor Day 2017.
That's got to be the quickest turnaround we've ever had on one of these bad boys, huh?
Yeah, I mean, close to it.
This is almost real time. This is almost a live episode.
This is as close to live as you're going to get.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
We're sitting here in the sunroom of the Airbnb that we've gone to 4 times now. Mm-hmm. It's great. It's great. We're looking out the window at our dying embers from our fire that we had.
Mm-hmm. I smell very smoky.
Yeah, I smell very smoky too.
I smell like real good beef jerky.
Yeah. Did I tell you I want to make my own beef jerky?
Mm-hmm.
Made my own pickles.
That's close.
They're fucking good.
Yeah. They got a smoky quality to them?
No, but they're good. Yeah, I'm real smoky.
Yeah.
We did some go-karts today.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say I was the fastest, but I was basically the fastest.
Yeah, you were.
I've been playing a lot of Mario Kart.
You were like a regular dry Bowser.
Well, it was like a regular, well, I guess, yeah, if you want to be, yeah. I'm a very big boy and I'm a very fast boy.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm very dry. I need lotion real bad. And I have 7 kids.
Are they his kids?
Whoa, does Dry Bowser have 7 dry babies?
Not in the game.
Like Dry Iggy, Dry...
I wish.
Yeah, Dry Mortimer Jr.
Dry Wendy Okupa.
Mm-hmm. Dry Stan.
You gonna get an article?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Stupid.
We're sleepy boys. Whoa.
What?
Namib desert horse.
Okay, I like that.
The Namib desert horse is a rare feral horse found in the Namib desert of Namibia, Africa. It's probably the... Whoa, shit. It's probably the only feral herd of horses residing in Africa, with a population ranging between 90 and 150.
Whoa. Feral horses.
This is crazy. I mean, what's the difference between feral horses and wild horses?
Yeah, well, feral horses couldn't drag me away.
The Namib desert horse is athletic in appearance, resembling the European light riding horses from which it probably descends, and usually dark in color. Despite the harsh environment in which they live, the horses are generally in good condition, except during the times of extreme drought. Ugh. The horses have been the subject of several population studies which have given significant insight into their population dynamics and ability to survive in desert conditions. This is crazy.
Yeah, and there's only like 100 horses.
That's the craziest. Is it's like...
Sometimes it's like, whoa, these are the only horses in Africa that are like wild.
Yeah, what is the difference between wild and feral?
Feral, I think that means they eat meat.
I think it means they eat iron. The only
feral.
Yeah.
Wow.
The only
it's late.
The only other like animal that I've ever heard referred to as feral is cats, which I assume is because they're like house cats that got out and then had babies. So maybe feral means like the descendant of a domestic animal.
No, interesting.
A wild descendant of a domestic animal.
I did get that impression from this article. Like European horses, they're descended from those guys.
Yeah.
So Europeans were in Africa, and then like some horses got out.
Oh, here we go. The origin of the Namib desert horse is unclear, though several theories have been put forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aliens.
Well, the several theories are the different aliens. Is it the Anunnaki? Is it the Greys? Is it the reptilians? I have a hybrid horse child. Okay, God, I'm very tired, and I saw genetic tests, and I almost read galactic tests. Genetic tests have been performed, although none to date have completely verified their origin. The most likely ancestors of the horses are a mix of riding horses and cavalry horses, many from German breeding programs, released from various farms and camps in the early 20th century, especially during World War I.
Oh, so it's like a brand new like crop of horses. Oh, there's a fun little...
Oh, wait.
Chimey clock.
Oh, okay. So that's the 12:30 chime on this clock out here. It is a very loud clock out here. This is crazy. So, yeah, it was just like, oh, we just have all these horses.
Man.
We got too many horses. Whatever their origin, the horses eventually congregated in the Garib Plains near Aus, Namibia, the location of a man-made water source.
God.
These horses know what's up.
Yeah, this is very cool.
They were generally ignored by humans,
Yeah,
except for the
horses.
periodic threat of eradication due to the possibility that they were destroying native herbivore habitat until the 1980s. In 1984, the first aerial survey of the population was made, and in 86, their traditional grazing land was incorporated into the Namib Naukluft Park. I assume that's like a
sanctuary of some sort.
yeah. At several points, some horses have been removed from the herd, including the removal and sale of over 1/3 of the population in 1992. Holy
Weird.
shit. In the early 90s, close records of the population have been kept and studied and have been performed to determine the horse's effect on their environment. Despite being considered an exotic species within the park, they're allowed to remain due to their ties with the country's history and draw as a tourist attraction. This is a pretty cool article.
Yeah, this is very cool. Like, I've never heard of anything like this.
No, not at all. Not at all. And presumably, like, they just keep having babies and shit.
Right. So it's like self-sustaining. Like, they're like an actual population of wild animals now.
That's so wild.
It reminds me a lot of Breath of the Wild. Just like walking through the plains, and it's like, oh, here's a whole group of horses.
Yeah.
And some of them are descended from, like, special horses.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Man, where do you think Namibia is?
Africa?
Yeah, I'll agree there. Yeah.
Do you mean where in Africa?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even begin to guess.
No, we did not learn African geography in school.
The public school system really failed me on
I know where Egypt is. I know where Madagascar is. I know where South Africa is. Could probably point to the Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo.
That's more than I can do.
Those might be two fucking countries, actually. I think I could probably point to Liberia or get close.
Yeah. I think Libya's on the west part of Africa.
I don't know. Sudan, I could probably.
It's pretty good.
But there are like, what,
like
150
80 countries or whatever.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. Why is that? I mean, like, we're just so hyper-focused on, like, the European studies. Which feels pretty racist, right?
I mean, that's got to be it.
God. What's up with that?
I mean, legitimately, the only thing I learned about Africa in school that I can remember is slave trade.
Yeah. What was that, the slave triangle, or what was that called?
I don't think it was the...
No.
Maybe it was the slave triangle, but yeah, the triangle.
Yeah, right. Like selling slaves to America to make rum, to sell to England, to then go trade for more slaves. Yeah. God.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, I didn't learn much about Asia either. It was like Europe.
No, I didn't learn anything about them at all. Like, they made writing. Well, no, they didn't do that. Like, what did they do? Paper? Was that them? No, that was Egypt.
Gunpowder.
That was them. It's late.
It's very late. What's your favorite like weirdo history fact? Anything for me, it's like anything to do with mummies. Like how they would take their brains out of their noses and shit.
Yeah, why do they do it that way?
I don't know. It's wild.
I think it's really interesting that was it Genghis Khan was able to conquer like everybody. I think that's really interesting. And everyone's like, yeah, this sucks. Like, you win. Like, sorry, dude, like, you win.
Yeah, I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, I think I confused Genghis Khan and Attila the Hun because I'm not sure which is which. But one of them tried to like conquer Japan, and then tried to do it twice, and both times, just their fleet of ships got destroyed by like a freak like tsunami.
Whoa.
Yeah. So they were never able to conquer Japan just because they just happened to do it, like during typhoon season.
That's wild.
Yeah. Whichever one it was, I don't know.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, screw it, we're going west. I don't know. I can't. I mean,
that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, there's like a million historical things I could just like start rattling off.
Yeah.
But
that's okay. You don't have to unless you want to.
Nah. I mean, whatever.
Anything as good as Mummy Brains?
Mummy Brains is pretty good.
It's weird that there's like a finite number of mummies, right? Like you think about them as being like really ubiquitous, but they at the time, but they like weren't really. It was only like if you were.
A certain kind of mummy, like with like.
Because, I'm sure they're like bog mummies and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like poor people would still be mummified, but they'd just be thrown into a pit.
I mean like
proper mummies. I mean
with all real deal mummies.
The brains taken out and
in the different jars.
Right, and then their servants and their dogs and animals buried with them.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, we probably know, not we, you and I, but people nowadays, I'm sure know like there were 48 mummies or whatever, you know,
I know exactly which each one is. Like this
Yeah.
one's Carl, this one's Stan. Yeah. Do you think like in classic like Dungeons and Dragons, there's dungeons, and dungeons are filled with traps, historically in this fantasy world. Does that come from like pyramids? Did pyramids have traps and shit?
I mean, in cartoons they certainly did.
Right.
Definitely like.
Well, pyramids
did
for sure because of grave robbers, but I don't know how like elaborate they got. Was it just like a door that shut behind them, or was it?
How could they even do that?
Levers. Step on a brick and it closes behind you. Like
how would that even work, though?
Simple levers.
In my head, the
aliens taught them anyway.
That's true. The most that they could have would be like a hidden pit, and you like go into a chamber and then you fall into a pit that you can't.
Sure. Well, they probably had like poison darts that shut out from the walls.
Yeah, a giant boulder that would roll after you once you picked up a little idol.
A garbage masher that would slowly crush you unless your droid could shut it down. But the trick was it was too hard to isolate just one garbage masher, so you had to shut them all down.
All of them. Yeah.
There was a book I checked out from the library over and over and over again as a kid. It was a big pop-up book that taught you all about mummies and pyramids and just everything. It was really cool.
When I was little, I wanted to be an Egyptologist.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's super cool. It's super cool.
It's interesting that we, at least you and I, both got an education about
mummies.
Yeah, and Egypt and shit.
Yeah. We learned in like third grade, we learned all the gods and like stories and stuff.
For sure.
I feel bad for Isis.
Why?
The god.
Why?
The goddess. Because
her name's Isis.
Yeah, like that's a fucking bummer.
Yeah, sorry about that one, dudes.
There was, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the podcast, but in my hometown, there was a like beauty supply shop called Isis Beauty Supply.
Oh.
And
named after the Egyptian god.
And there's like a picture of the Egyptian goddess like on their sign, and it's just like Isis Beauty Supply. And in the last like couple years when we go home, I've passed and it's just SIS
sure.
Beauty Supply, because they're like,
we can't be ISIS.
Yeah,
it's reached a fever pitch now.
That's so. I mean,
God.
Yeah, that's really like not funny, but it's
funny. It's
funny,
right? It will be funny.
Yeah.
Two of the gods, well, at least the two I'm going to speak of were brothers, and it was Set maybe, and Anubis. Is that right? Or Osiris? Which skate company was it?
Those are all gods.
Well, one of them I think it ends up becoming like god of death, and he like gets like chopped into a million pieces.
Do you know what animal he was?
Well, I mean, in my head it's just like a dude with like a jackal head.
That's Anubis.
Yeah, but I don't know if that was the one or not.
Or you might be thinking of Lucario.
But yeah, one of them like got chopped up into a billion pieces, and his brother had to like come and find all the pieces and put them back together. And,
fuck.
Yeah.
All those stories are so cool.
I know. Man. Roman mythology, like all of it.
In high school, I had to do. So I was in the IB program, and we had to do like a big essay, like at the end, like a capstone essay, and I did mine on Akhenaten, which I'm sure I've talked about on this podcast.
Yeah, you mentioned Philip Glass did a.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool. But
and he was like a pharaoh.
Yeah, he was a pharaoh.
Okay.
And he like moved the capital from
Cairo
to like Alexandria, and like. There was a big change in like the art style during his reign, and
interesting.
They went from being polytheistic to monotheistic during his reign.
Okay,
and then like as soon as he was done being pharaoh, everything went back.
So we're done with this, right, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to this.
I believe that King Tut, which it's so funny that we like.
He's the one we know.
He's the one we know, and we like shortened his name.
Yeah,
because his name's Tutankhamun. But yeah, they like everything went back.
Why is King Tut the one we know? Is it because
Steve Martin?
Well, sure, but like,
I don't know.
Well, he was a child. Maybe that helped. But also, wasn't it the last pyramid to be found, or something
like that? Or maybe he was. He might have been the last one in like a certain dynasty, or the Common Era, or whatever.
Well, in my head,
I forget the dynasty names, but
I wouldn't know.
Or New Kingdom. He might have been like the last like New Kingdom.
Sure. Well, and it might also be because when it was discovered, maybe it was the last one discovered. That it was also during like the television era or something.
Maybe
that's a little too late, but yeah, like the guy who found it, whose name I don't remember, ended up dying from some mysterious illness. So it was it was the curse of the King Tut's mummy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. All this stuff is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Do Americans have things like that? I mean, obviously we don't, not to that degree, but like,
What do you mean?
I don't know, just
No.
like really interesting fables, or like we have tall tales, but that's not really exactly the same thing.
No. Well, that's not even, King Tut isn't even like a fable though. That's
No,
like
no.
a real thing.
Yeah, I was saying like of gods and stuff like that. And we couldn't because we're such a
Oh.
new amalgamation of everything.
I
Well,
mean,
are you watching American Gods?
No.
It deals with that basically.
What I mean, how cynical do you want to be? You know, like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, television or whatever.
No, I was gonna say like Christianity and Judaism and
Oh,
like
yeah.
all of like modern religion. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
not
yeah.
to not to be whatever, but
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, I'd have to think about it. It'd be hard to think about it objectively, but are there similarly fantastical occurrences? Do you think in Christianity, like such as like, oh, all the gods sprung from this guy's head, and then he ate.
the bummer with Christianity is that you don't have all those gods to play with. You know,
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
true. It's not
it's
as
one
fun.
dude.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's like
Well, he's kind of like Hercules.
There's like plagues, all the plagues and stuff. That's pretty fantastical.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, blood from a rock.
Parting a dang sea.
Yeah, yeah.
A burning bush. I mean, I've never seen a bush burn. You know.
You gotta hang out with me with some more, dude.
Yeah. So I mean, all of those things.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But then I've also heard arguments. James and Kat, are my friends, or your friends, our friends, they've like made the case before that like Star Wars has moved from like just a story to a modern myth, and it kind of belongs to everyone now.
Oh, okay.
So it's no longer like. I mean, it's the property of Lucasfilm, but
Right.
it belongs to the public in a much grander way than most other properties.
So like 500 years from now, it'd be like, yeah, I mean, you know,
they would tell these stories of these space wizards.
Yeah, of these space wizards.
Because then there was also like, you know, before the EU reboot,
Uh-huh.
there was like the entire EU where pretty much anyone could just write a fucking Star Wars story
Sure.
about whatever. So then there are like all these
So
characters.
those are
it's
like the Apocrypha.
Yeah. But then there are like all these characters like, oh, well, you know, I heard a story that Darth Maul did this before he was like a Sith. And then I heard a story that he did this.
I heard he was on this planet.
It's like all these different things that like everyone just knows like a little bit of. And there are different versions of people's origin stories and stuff.
Yeah.
So like...
Okay.
So I think the case can certainly be made.
Totally.
And I don't know like the scholarly sort of definition for
Right.
what is a myth and what is whatever, but
Right.
from what they were telling me, they made a
Pretty compelling
argument.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I was talking to you the other day, like it was because I'm trying to learn a little bit more about Japan recently, and you think you know a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
and then it's like, no, you don't know anything. There's like so much you learn so little that you don't even know what you don't know yet, you know?
Yeah. There's a Beatles song called "The Inner Light." It's a B-side, and one of the lines is the further one travels, the further doesn't matter. The further you travel, the less you know, or something like that.
Well, I was really hoping you were gonna nail that and have it be like really like profound, and we were end on that note. But
Oh fuck.
yeah, too late.
Well, I can try and remember it.
You know, the Beatles said, "The love you take is equal to the love you make."
You know, the Beatles said, "I'd like to be in an octopus's garden. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden."
You know, the Beatles said, "Why don't we do it in the road?"
You know, the Beatles said, love me do. You know I love you. Love me do. I'll always be true. So please, easy, love me do."
Smell you later.
I can't believe this is so stupid. This is the second dumbest thing that we've done. I think the dumbest is when we were just driving from...
That was...
It was fun, but it was like, what are we
ultimately
doing?
probably stupid, yeah. Well, at least we're only doing one. Does that mean we're going to record more on Tuesday?
Yeah, I guess. All right, I mean, I guess we could see how we feel. We're going to have to wait to shower anyway, so...
Yeah, let's see how we feel.
If we don't do...
Let's just say we're going to do one and see what happens.
Yeah, if we do one, it might wind up where it's just like...
Yeah. I'm just feeling like a little like mentally...
For sure.
Yeah. Fucked up.
Maybe we just do two like quickos.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's what happened.
Ready?
Yes.
Thank you for playing Arcade Audio. Play more at arcadeaudio.net.